and welcome back to another video on my channel. I don't know what it is today, but I'm feeling very camera shy. I've had to film this intro like 4 times. But anyways, the topic that we are going to be discussing today is one that was recommended to me by my boyfriend, and he recommended this topic so long ago, but I never even entertained it because I didn't think that he knew what he was talking about. But then I was running low on things that I wanted to look into, and I started looking into this case, and I am so glad that I did. So with that all being said, let's get right into today's video. So today we are going to be talking about a car, and this car is mostly known as the Golden Eagle, but it is also known as the most evil car in America. The vehicle was a 1964 Dodge 330 limited edition, and the vehicle was originally purchased to be a police vehicle in Old Orchard Beach, Maine, but the police station that had purchased this vehicle quickly started to realize that there was something very, very wrong going on with this car in particular. It was said to be pretty immediate that after the officers who were working with the Golden Eagle would come into contact with this car, that they would realize that there was something going on with this that was of the paranormal nature. Seatbelts would come undone, doors would open by themselves, just all of these really strange things that reminded a lot of the officers of something straight out of a horror movie. Now, this next thing that I'm going to share with you guys has not been confirmed, and I looked all over the internet to try and find if there was a place where I could confirm this piece of information, but this is all just alleged. But on the first night that the car was brought into the police station, it was assigned to an officer who had taken the vehicle out on parole, I believe, and he went home and took his own life. Now again, this specific case isn't confirmed, but that is something that is said commonly in this story, and he would have been the first person to have driven this vehicle. After this was said to have taken place, there were only ever 3 other officers who had driven the Golden Eagle, and they went on to do the unthinkable. Not only would these 3 men take their own lives, but it is said that all 3 of them committed murder-suicide, taking their families with them. So just to confirm what I am saying and clarify to make it clear for you guys, there were only ever 4 people who had driven this vehicle, and all 4 of them, had taken their own lives, and 3 of them had taken the lives of other people as well before taking their own life. So obviously this is a very tragic and disturbing situation, and it was all related back to this vehicle. And so because of this, the police department decided that they needed to get rid of the car. So after this had all happened, the police department started to kind of look for somebody to sell the car to, and they ended up selling the vehicle to an elderly man, which when I first read that, I was like, yeah, that seems like a good idea. This vehicle is kind of believed to be like the reason that these people went crazy, and we'll just sell it to this older man. But the man had known about the situation and that they were kind of tying the car in with it, so he agreed to that. Whether that makes it better or not, I'm not really sure, but that is just how that played out. The man that the car was sold to was a doctor by the name of Larcel, and he was actually the person who painted this vehicle gold, giving it the name the Golden Eagle. Before this, the vehicle was silver. While owning this vehicle, the doctor would experience some very strange happenings, just like at the police station. Twice while owning the Golden Eagle, the vehicle was struck by lightning, and both times that the vehicle was struck by lightning, it caused severe damage. The vehicle was then passed on to a man by the name of Dave, and Dave would let his son paint the vehicle, and he painted the vehicle this like orange coppery color, which is actually the color that the vehicle remains today, even though it is still referred to as the Golden Eagle. Dave and his son were said to have tried to basically revamp the whole vehicle, but even after doing that, the car still had several problems surrounding it. They often said that there were like small animals' corpses always found near the vehicle. Like if they left the vehicle in the driveway, there would be like the corpse of like a squirrel directly beside it or on top of it and things like that. And it was also said at this time that any single item that they'd used on the car or had taken inside of the car would just completely stop working. Following Dave owning this vehicle, the car was then sold to a fireman, and he started using this vehicle as kind of like a first responding vehicle who arrived first to fires. Obviously, it was much smaller than a fire truck, so it would respond to these disasters faster. And in one occasion, they were saving a young girl from a fire, and it was said that while the Golden Eagle was driving, you could physically see flames coming out of the back of the car and coming off the tires. And when they got to the hospital, sure enough, all of the rubber was completely burned off the tires, but the girl ended up being okay. And it was also said that during the time that the Golden Eagle was used by the police, the fire department, it was said to have been believed that there was something good surrounding this car, which again was not something that a lot of people believed. Usually it was a lot of bad feelings and a lot of bad happenings surrounding this vehicle, but when it was used for the fire department, it was doing a lot of good and nothing really bad had happened. And then in 1983, the vehicle was sold to a woman by the name of Wendy Allen. Wendy Allen had known about the background of the vehicle and all of the bad that was surrounding the vehicle and how it was doing good with the fire department, but she didn't really care about the bad or anything that was going on with the vehicle. She just wanted to have it. And it was said that the vehicle seemed to have liked the Allen family. It really didn't do anything bad to them, but there were definitely some things that happened while this vehicle was purchased by Wendy Allen that were very, very strange and harmful. One morning while Wendy was taking out the trash, she walked over to the vehicle to see something on the hood. She thought that it was like a rock or a piece of like a leaf or something like that, but that is when she realized that it was actually the corpse of a tiny little bird. Now, like I said, this isn't the first time that there were small corpses found near the vehicle. However, in Wendy's case, it was a little bit more extreme because every single time she would go out to the vehicle, she would find the corpse of an animal either on the vehicle or near the vehicle, and the corpses just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And so one day she found a fox or something like a fox, and she took it to get tests run on it to see what was killing all of these animals. And that is when she was informed that all of these animals were being electrocuted, likely from the vehicle or something within the vehicle. In the 80s and the 90s, so this happened twice, people who were a part of the church who had a problem with the Golden Eagle took it upon themselves to vandalize the car in hopes that Wendy would get rid of it. And it is said that all of the people who were involved in vandalizing this vehicle died in a horrific manner. One of the members of the church who had vandalized the vehicle was said to have passed away due to being struck by lightning. One was said to have been hit by an 18-wheeler. One was said to have been decapitated. And all of these deaths had something to do with the Golden Eagle. And this was happening so frequently that all of these bad events would happen surrounding this car that it was almost too many to dismiss it. But again, like I mentioned, for some reason, the car had somewhat taken a liking to Wendy Allen, and nothing bad was happening to her. In fact, she really enjoyed having the car. In one incident, Wendy was driving the vehicle to run some errands along with her friend Letta. Now, obviously, Letta was sitting in the passenger seat of the vehicle, and the two women were driving. They were chatting, as you do when you have a friend in the vehicle, and they were on the highway when all of a sudden, Letta's car door just flew open. Again, she was sitting in the passenger seat. And once this happened, she just started freaking out. Now, obviously, while this was going on, Wendy was also freaking out, and she was slamming on the brakes, slamming on the brakes, slamming on the brakes, but nothing was happening. The car was just getting faster and faster and faster, and all of a sudden, Letta's seatbelt flung off of her, and the woman went flying out of the vehicle. While this whole thing was going on, Wendy felt completely out of control of the car. It seemed like it was having a mind of its own. It wouldn't stop. It wouldn't do anything that she wanted to. But once her friend was out of the vehicle, that is when she became fully in control of the car again. Luckily, Letta wasn't severely injured in this incident. In fact, she was almost completely fine, but she didn't want anything to do with Wendy or the vehicle at all after that, saying that she had felt invisible hands on her undoing her seatbelt during the incident of the car. After this had happened, Wendy took the car to a mechanic to get it inspected, but the mechanic couldn't find anything wrong with the vehicle, and it even said that he couldn't have forced that door open or forced the seatbelt off, even if he tried. try. Shortly after this incident had taken place, there were two young children riding their bikes outside of Wendy's home when they were struck by a moving vehicle. After the children were struck, it was said that they passed away immediately and their bodies were flung by the force of the vehicle that had hit them onto the hood of the Golden Eagle. Both children sadly passed before emergency services could arrive. Now we're jumping way ahead here, but in 2008, a boy had simply touched the Golden Eagle and went home to brutally murder his entire family and their beloved dog. People who lived in Wendy's neighborhood were absolutely pissed at this point. They were so mad that all of these deaths had taken place and they were chalking it up to having something to do with the Golden Eagle, and because of that, they wanted this vehicle gone. In 2010, two church members who no longer wanted the vehicle to be around drove it to a scrapyard and got the vehicle demolished. Which, like, even if that was the case, even if there was this vehicle in the area or something in the area that you thought was responsible for all of these deaths, can you imagine taking that vehicle that is not yours, it's somebody else's property, and going and trying to get it cut up at a scrapyard? That is insane to me. But yeah, they took this vehicle and they took it to the scrapyard to try and get it kind of cut up and destroyed. But just like everything else with this car that went wrong, once they got the car to the scrapyard, all of the power went out, which didn't stop them from cutting up the vehicle, but it definitely delayed the process. So they did end up cutting up the car and they sold different parts of it to a bunch of different people all over the country. Wendy, understandably, was furious, and so she went around getting back all of the pieces of the car that she could, and she rebuilt the Golden Eagle and now keeps it in an unknown location. Now this is kind of going down a whole other rabbit hole, but Wendy Allen herself actually claims that she is a witch, and the Golden Eagle isn't the only car that is in her possession that she claims to be haunted. She has allegedly several haunted cars. But it's just so weird because, again, when the vehicle was in the possession of the fire department, it was said to have only good things happen. They still believed that the car was possessed, but they thought that it could have been possessed by like an angel or something like that. Whereas all of the things that happened once Wendy owned it, again, were these horrible bad things. So that just seems kind of weird. Maybe Wendy put a spell on it, who knows. But this vehicle, the Golden Eagle, was actually what inspired Stephen King's movie and book, Christine. But guys, that is going to bring us to the end of today's video. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to comment down below what you'd like to see in my future videos, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on that notification bell so that you don't miss any future videos from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.